Our emotional state begins in our gut. If you ask me, Gary, what is a mood? What is an emotional state? It is nothing more than a collection of neurotransmitters. If you said, what is happiness? Well, that's so much norepinephrine, so much epinephrine, so much dopamine, so much serotonin. Boom, you have the emotion of happiness. So emotions are recipes. What if I start to deplete just some of the ingredients of that recipe, right? It's like going to a bakery chef and saying, hey, you can bake whatever you want, you just can't use butter. Doesn't sound like a big deal. It's one ingredient. But now think of how that would affect cookies and pastries and pies and candies. But the same thing happens in the human body. We deplete a raw material, and then we call this mental illness. But the problem is that we've actually depleted a raw material that's a necessary part of an emotional state. If I remove serotonin from the brain of every person in this room, you will not only instantly be depressed, but you will not be able to manufacture elevated emotional states, passion, elation, joy, arousal, libido, all the hell yeah, I won the lottery emotions. This begins in the gut. And so what happens is the gut forms these neurotransmitters. They travel up a little ladder called the vagus nerve and they enter the brain. And MIT just published an incredible clinical study that when an area of the brain called the amygdala receives these neurotransmitters, by the way, this is the area of the brain where every single mood, every emotional state that you can feel is felt in the amygdala. The interesting thing about the amygdala is that it's the only gateway to your memory in the hippocampus. Do you know that a human being can only access our memory through your current emotional state? This is why the last time you had an argument with your spouse, you recalled with incredible accuracy every other time she made or he made you feel that way. This is why they recalled that. You know, you did this in September. You did this when my boys came over. You did this on the 19th, and you did it on the boat on Memorial Day weekend. It's like, whoo, what a memory. You can't find your socks in the morning. You sure laid out every one of those times I pissed you off. That's because that emotion linked to that memory. But our memory drives our conscience, and our conscience is our future. So if we don't control the emotional state, we lose control of our future. And that emotional state requires the raw materials from the gut. So your future begins in your gut. I hate to tell you that. It begins right here.